Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, President Bongbong Marcos wants to extend more help to rice farmers and consumers following the lifting of the price cap on the food staple. The public can expect a faster resolution of consumer complaints with the launch of a new online portal. And later, the government is initiating a National Halal Strategy seen to generate investments and create more jobs for Filipinos. Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascual joins us live in the program. Following the lifting of the price cap on rice, President Marcos ordered government agencies to ramp up their efforts in helping rice farmers, retailers, and struggling consumers. He instructed the agencies to reduce the cost of production and ensure the stability of rice prices. And to temper the high prices, retailers were mandated to sell rice at a lower price. The price cap was lifted after almost a month. Now, let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascual. Secretary, thank you so much for your time. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the lifting of the rice price cap. It's been almost 2 weeks. That was lifted sometime October 4.
That's right.
With the recommendation coming from the Department of Agriculture and, of course, the DTI. How are the prices now?
Well, we looked at the report of our people in the field, and it seems that up to November 9, October 9, I have the report, and the prices are still very close to the ceiling that was set earlier.
Which was 41 pesos rather for regular and
45 for well-milled.
For well-milled rice.
Yes.
What kind of average can we expect till the end of the year?
Well, the thing is, the timing of the lifting is also the harvest season.
Right.
So the supply is ample. I understand we have from the Department of Agriculture that we have at least 2 months supply. And in the main issue is the price in NCR, because in the regions, the rice produced in their area is also what is sold there. So prices are more or less in the rice producing areas even lower than the ceiling. We have observed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we believe that there will be some upward tick. That's why we're also readying support for the affected people or
Such
affected sectors. For example, the very poor, we have the food stamp program that's giving 3,000 pesos per family. About, I think, 1 million is being targeted, and we're getting support from the Asian Development Bank with a grant of $3 million US dollars. So there's also government subsidy to, the farmers in the 4-piece program, the Pantawid ng Pamilyang Pilipino program. That's about 10,000 cash subsidy to rice farmers. About 78,000 is the count. And we are also supporting to reduce the costs in other areas like transport. There is a subsidy for jeepney drivers as well.
Yeah, a lot's been being distributed, but because of initially the price rise cap, 15,000 pesos was supposed to be given assistance to retailers. Do you have an update on if this has actually been completed?
Yes, it's been done, and it was DTI that prepared the list of retailers who were supposed to be entitled to this 15,000 support, because they're the ones with existing stock bought at a higher price, and they were being asked to sell within the price ceiling. So we expected them then to suffer some losses, so we covered that losses with subsidy.
In other words, no, Secretary, medyo napilitan sila to sell at a lower cost kung magkano nila binili.
Oh, that we understood.
Yeah.
That's why we provided the support to them.
But what about, I guess what's important to notice, I know it is harvest season, but in terms of rice supply till the end of the year and next year, what are you looking at? Do we have enough
expectations,
supply?
we have enough supply up to the end of the year and beyond, because the harvest is better, I think, this year. That's according to the report we've gotten from the Department of Agriculture.
All right. Also, one thing I read somewhere, Secretary, I hope you can update me on this, that intergovernment agreement with Vietnam to assist the Philippines in food security, especially on rice.
Yeah, we are in direct, our president is in direct contact with the heads of countries that are rice exporting. And although there is ostensibly announcement of rice export ban in the case of certain countries. We have read about that, Yes. There are special arrangements that we have made, our president has made. President Marcos Jr. in touch with the heads of states of these countries that are rice producing.
All right. Latest Pulse Asia survey showed the top concern, sir, Filipinos is taming inflation, which was actually 11% higher compared to well, I guess let's put it this way. Inflation was at 6.1% in September compared to 5.3% in August.
Yes.
What is being done, for example, by the DTI to be able to cushion the effect of the rising prices on consumers?
Well, the biggest inflation is in food products.
Yeah.
Okay, so our action has been in that regard. One of the things we proposed, and the President agreed and issued an executive order, was the suspension of the pass-through fees that's being collected from truckers when they move vegetables, fruits, and grains, across municipal boundaries. So there has been an order for suspension, and based on reports from concerned agencies, that's happening. So that will reduce cost. On a medium-term basis, we have presented to the President, the President approved it, a 3-year food logistics action agenda, which is designed to cut down the number of intermediaries between the farmers and the consumer. Okay, this will involve setting up of food hubs and making our logistics more efficient and having enough storage, like cold chain for certain types of agricultural produce like onions. And hopefully, with the implementation of these measures, we'll be able to reduce the logistics cost, which is pushing up the price, like, for example, onions, I understand, in 2022, average only about 40 or 45 per kilo at the farm gate, but it reached about up to 600, in the retail stores.
Right, right. So with those measures, Secretary, being implemented, as you mentioned, medium term, what is medium term? I mean, when can we...
3 years.
That was part of the 3-year food logistic plan of government. Just Christmas around the corner. What can we expect in terms of the basics that people will need to celebrate the holidays?
Well, number one, of course, ham. We've gotten assurances from our producers of canned ham, for example, that there will be ample supply. And another action taken by the government was to reduce the tariff on imported rice, corn, and meat, pork particularly. And that has reduced the imported cost, and that will contribute to the reduction of food prices.
Coupled with, of course, as we've been hearing, and seeing in the news the fight against hoarders, smugglers, etc. And very important, I think, Secretary, when you said that aside from, well, logistics, we really need cold storage facilities for our farmers to be able to preserve their products. All right. There's a lot to talk about. There's a portal that you might be interested in case you have complaints on retailers and even service providers. And of course, the Philippines. When is the Philippines, or how is the Philippines going to be a investment destination hub? We'll be taking a very short break. This is the Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascual. Before we go to the DTI portal, which may be interesting to a number of people, the Secretary and I were discussing a while ago something very important, no, sir? You plan to, you're saying that there has to be some sort of a database for warehouses across the country. Tell us why is that a problem, and why do we not have one at the moment?
Well, currently we don't have a registry of warehouses. I think at the local levels they know. But if you go to the national level and have the feel for the whole country, it's difficult. How many municipalities we have? 4,000, you have to collect individual data from each one. That takes time.
Right.
Not all are on digital mode already. So part of the 3-year food logistics action agenda that we developed is the establishment of a warehouse registry. So at the national level, we know where the warehouses are and what they are for, and hopefully in due time we will also be able to track what's inside the warehouse.
But isn't it important, Secretary, to do that as soon as possible?
Yes, that's why it's within the 3-year action agenda.
Because actually, we were talking about it during the break. There would be a number of warehouses that could be raided and possibly look bad because marami pong nakastore na mga produkto dun sa mga warehouse. However, it could also be possible that those are already sold, just being stored.
That's right. That has been the findings in some cases, Or, it's because, they're keeping a supply, like it's cold storage, for 6 months, because there's only one-time harvest.
Yeah.
And you have to store the harvest and sell over time.
So that needs to be understood better, even by the public, Secretary. Here, so the DTI recently launched the online portal for customer complaints. Tell us more about this. What is the most common complaint of the consumer?
I have here a listing: deceptive, unfair, unconscionable practice, liability for product services.
Okay.
In other words, merchants are not honoring their liability for, say, warranty. Okay, misleading advertisement and fraudulent sales promotion, unfair and unconscionable acts or practices, and fake products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us how this works, and do we expect a faster resolution of complaints that could be filed?
The first stage is filing a complaint online.
Okay.
Next stage is the mediation online by DTI. And if the resolution is reached, well and good. If not, there will be further action, legal action to be taken.
Will the DTI be able to find these retailers? Is it going to be easy for the DTI to find the retailers?
No, the complaints are going to come from consumers, the buyers of goods.
Yes.
So when they complain, they'll identify who the merchant is.
Yeah, I understand, but is it a challenge possibly sometimes to find the sellers who you might have transacted with online?
The platform owner would know who are on their platform.
Got it. For example, let's say Lazada or Shopee.
Lazada, Shopee would have a list of their merchants. Of course, the merchants can also fake their registration and eventually sell substandard goods or fake products. That's why we have asked the platform owners to be more careful, in onboarding merchants, making sure that these merchants are legitimate, that they have offices, sometimes they're just names, and you cannot track them after they have sold several goods.
Mawawala.
Oo. And now it's because many selling transactions are done online, and there are many of them.
Yeah.
So it's important that we are able to speed up also the resolution of these complaints, because in 20
How many complaints were there?
January to September 2023, this is manual complaints, phone complaints, or email, not yet in the portal, because this is just launched recently. 23 or 22,000 complaints.
Yeah.
But by the way, not all are within the jurisdiction of DTI. There are those that we refer to other agencies.
For example?
If it's a complaint with respect to transport, logistics, and the ones licensing logistics company is another agency, so we will pass on the complaints to them.
What is a turnaround time? Do you have a target of a turnaround time?
10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
For
for those that DTI is responsible for, out of 7,300 complaints, we were able to resolve 5,300 in 10 days.
Secretary,
10
that's
working
out
days,
of the 22 that you mentioned a while ago.
No, this is out of, because I was talking about what's DTI is responsible
Yes,
for.
yung scope po ninyo.
Yung scope namin. 7,300 between January and September this year. We were able to resolve 5,300 within 10 days. 2 went beyond 10 days. 7,607 were withdrawn eventually. Maybe there has been some compromise reached between the buyer and the seller. Okay. And others were issued certificate of like an order that they will be charged for not
So in a
resolving
way,
the case.
In a way, Secretary, malaking tulong to, obviously for the consumers, and then number 2, it holds into account the sellers as well, diba? Because you are coming in, obviously, through the portal to be able to resolve issues that the consumers have. All right, we're going to be taking another break, but what we're going to do is continue this discussion on our Facebook Live. We have about 4 minutes of commercial right now. So Secretary Pascual is still with us. We'll talk about the portal and, of course, their plans for the halal industry. We'll be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascual. So the Philippines will be launching the National Halal Strategy. This is where the DTI comes in as the lead government agency, comprising of about 9 other. It's an interagency task force. Tell us more about this and how can this help the public?
Well, halal as a way of life is not just for Muslims, But of course, we initially have to target our Muslim market for the halal products that we will produce. We're starting with BARMM, the BARM area. Particularly in the rehabilitation of Marawi, we have given them about 66 million as approved earlier on for them, and helping them revive the industries in Marawi City. So that will be one of the starting points. And please take note that halal is not just food products.
Yeah.
It's a wide range. We have pharmaceuticals, even cosmetics. The dress of women dress, very modest attire. There's also halal tourism, and so on. Even non-food products are included. And the more popular, we've heard about it even before, the halal finance, which we used to call Islamic banking, Islamic finance.
Yeah.
That's also another type of halal service. So we're developing all these sectors, not just food. But of course, most of our MSMEs are engaged in producing food products. So we want them to produce their food product, the packaged food product, in a halal way. So we can, if we can accumulate a sufficient number, we can develop an export market.
But what kind of assistance is going to be given to the MSMEs?
Technical, financial, and technology.
And how do they siguro come forward, push this?
Just to explain further, we have such a thing as in each of the provinces we have a negosyo center. So they provide advisory or consultancy services. And then we have what's called shared service facilities program, where we provide equipment needed to produce the products. Can be shared by a number of small enterprises in the area. Okay, and then we have the at the level of DTI head office, we are negotiating with foreign countries for trade in various types of products.
Okay, so the first signed agreement with BARM, Marawi. You were saying, what's next?
Oh, well, next we will identify first we need to establish the certifying body. I was surprised, up to now, that the action needed to establish certifying body has yet to be completed.
When you say that, Secretary, you mean certified halal?
Yeah, somebody has to certify the halal, and that certifying body has to be accredited by the destination countries that we're targeting for our export. So we have to do all this negotiation and etc. The problem is that internationally there's no single body, that sets the standard. So you need to negotiate possibly initially country to country.
On what their requirements are for a certification. I understand. Okay.
I'm happy to note that ASEAN, our ASEAN region is taking upon itself the responsibility for coming up with an ASEAN standard.
And we look forward.
So hopefully among the ASEAN countries, and there are Muslim countries like Indonesia and Malaysia, Brunei are part of ASEAN.
Right.
We can have this established as a regional thing rather than country to country.
Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascual, sir, good to see you, and maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pinky.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.